Hi, Mike DePung here from Spirit Spirit Healing in and into Love and Light. It's been a couple of months since I've been here. I've been involved in another project and it's been really great. I've really enjoyed working with other people for a change for a little while. But today I want to share a few stories that I have written in the past that I posted on Medium. I'll put the link below to the one that I'm going to do today. Actually, I'm planning on posting for the next few days to get all three of these stories out because, one, I think they're fun. They're fun for me at least, and I've had other people laugh at them and tell me that. So I'm going to read this one, but before I read it, I do want to mention this, that holidays are a time when, in this whole holiday season, a time when we look back, we have memories in a lot of cultures, and even here in the United States. It's a time for telling stories, lots of stories of the past, stories of even like almost Halloween-y type stories with ghosts and supernatural events, usually things that have happened in the family, like stories I tell often during Halloween. But beyond this, I want to think about it in terms of reflection, that this is a time of reflection on past, reflection about things that are sometimes not easy to face, but they're definitely part of healing. Stories are part of healing. And so this is one of my stories, and it's part of my healing. And I'm going to share in the next couple the healing process and the elements of healing that I saw. But one of the things I want to mention, for those of you who understand about the types of beliefs that I have, that have to do with looking at the different worlds that are here, that are about us. We're in a middle world. We're in this natural world of natural elements, and there are other worlds. We realize that it's not only healing in love and light, but there's darkness is just as important. Healing in love and light worked out well for Spirit Hill, but darkness is really important to understand. And when we reflect, we can reflect on things that maybe we would classify as darkness, things that are shadows in our lives, and shadow selves even sometimes, but things that maybe have hurt us in the past. But when we have the ability to listen to our heart, to step back and to evaluate, to know what we have felt, to know what we experienced, and then to assign value to it, to choose how we're going to feel and react from now on, to revalue. And that's a really important thing, to revalue and reform, reshape what's happened in the past. Not deny it, but just to say, I'm going to look at it in a different way. And stories do that. So I hope at this time of the year, you will pause and think, if you listen to this video, that you'll pause and think about the stories of your past, things that deal with your family, and realize that you get to choose how you feel. You get to choose how you value things. And what that allows us to do quite often is it allows us to bestow the wisdom of responding to our now and to things that happen in our now that have been affected by the darkness, by shadows, and realize what it did, what these experiences did for us, not only to us, but for us, and to see the richness and the value in them, embrace what was there, but so that they don't hurt us anymore. So then we can respond to situations now rather than react, and that's wisdom, where you respond rather than react. You choose how you're going to feel and behave in reference to things that happen. So healing is really important for all of us because we do experience trauma. We do experience different things in our lives. And our whole point in coming here is to not experience those things, even though we know when we come here we're going to face it because we get ego, but we get to choose heart. And then when we do that, we get to we get to look at life in a whole nother way, in a way that we wanted to see, the richness of it, the beauty of it, the sweet fragrance of all that is available to us here. So, having said that, I'm going to take a few minutes here and I'm going to read one of the story that I wrote that brings back memories of my family, of living, growing up in a 4-room apartment where my bedroom was the living room because I slept on the sofa. That was basically my room. My sister had the other bedroom, and my mom and dad had one, and we had the kitchen and the living room, and that was it. But that little 4-room apartment holds lots of memories, some that were painful, undoubtedly, but I have learned in a very real way to value every experience that I had, and every experience my mom and dad made possible for me because they brought me into this world. And so I am so grateful for everything. And this story makes me smile now, makes me laugh. It wasn't so pleasant going through it, but here it is. It's called Remembering Christmas, and now I excuse myself because I'm going to have to look down to read from the document screen. Remembering Christmas, shoe polish melted, boot shined, we loved. I grew up from the ages of 7 to 21 in a 4-room apartment in South St. Louis, Missouri. Our little apartment was newly built and clean when we moved in, but it didn't stay that way long. However, it was home to us, all we knew, and we knew love there. My family faced many challenges, even with the love. Our holidays were filled with my parents drinking even more than usual, which was significant. My sister and I, however, never experienced any abuse, direct abuse. Sometimes things could be funny in such a small house, one in which the living room sofa served as my bedroom most of the years we lived there. When I was 17 and a senior in high school, I participated in a program called DECA, the Distributive Education Clubs of America. We were supposed to learn business principles, get jobs, and become familiar with working in various phases of a retail environment. I took it because I had all my credits and only wanted to go to school for half a day. We were supposed to have a job for the other half of the day, well, at least have a job where we worked about 20 hours a week. I got a job at a H.I.L.L Brothers shoe store, and I was still working there leading up to Christmas at the end of fall semester. I got to see all the new shoes as they came in, and of course I got a discount if I wanted any shoes. That year, harness boots, you remember those? Harness boots surged in popularity, and we received a limited number at our store. I thought they were incredible. They not only looked good, but also were super comfortable. These were just the right height and a little flared going up from the bottom of my calf, which means they didn't cut into my muscle. They also made me taller, bonus. I calculated how much I would need to save for about the last 4 weeks of the year, and I put the one pair in my size in layaway. I hated working at the store. With all the accrued wisdom of a 17-year-old, I judged how rude and stupid people could be. The only thing that kept me there until Christmas and the end of my semester were the boots. I remember what a disaster the store was the last few days before Christmas. I was convinced that customers threw shoes on the floor and walked away just to piss me off. I would quit right after Christmas, not only the store, but also the second semester of DECA. However, I always loved to learn, to improve on what was already in place, make it better. So when the manager showed me how to light a tin of shoe polish on fire and then apply liquefied polish to the boots and buff them to a previously unknown gloss and depth of protection, I was hooked. Hell, they all looked almost like patent leather, super shiny boots. Holy shit, I got really good and fast at polishing shoes. Now, the one thing I hadn't done was told my mom I was buying the boots. She would have thought them really extravagant, but hey, it was my job and my money. I thought if she saw them all shined up, though, she would be in as much awe as I was. My mom was excited for me when she saw how proud I was of the boots when I brought them home on Christmas Eve, but she did eventually ask how much they cost. My sister thought they were cool too. She had bounced in when she heard Mom and me talking and a box lid dropping. Dad, though, he didn't budge from the living room, not yet at least. I put the boots on and stood 2 inches taller. Wow. I felt powerful with such beauty on my feet and my new stature. We laughed at how much taller I was now than my mom and my sister. Dad was still in the living room. Much to my mom's surprise, I pulled off the boots and set them on the chair next to me. "Why did you do that?" Mom asked. I want to show you how to make shoes look really good at the store, Mom. Let me use your matches. Mike, what are you going to do? Her reticence to hand over the matches spoke the rest of her mind. Don't worry, I do this all the time. I took the matches from her, smiling with my superior knowledge. Undoubtedly, Dad heard all this, but he was still in the living room. Now, I set one of my boots to the plastic holiday tablecloth printed with resplendent poinsettia leaves, holly swags, and golden candles. Since two neighbor ladies were coming by, it was one of probably 2 times in the year when the table was not piled with paper and junk. Except for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and maybe my birthday, we never ate at the table. Fortunately, Mom hadn't done any more than spread the cloth before I came in with the harness boots. I twisted the little key on the can of the brown kiwi tin of shoe wax. I picked up the matches. Mom's voice was more insistent now. Mikey, what are you doing? Don't worry, we do this every day at the shoe store. I took a sharp, forceful stroke with the match on the roughened bottom of the matchbook. We smelled the strong, brief scent of sulfur as I let the match burn a second before lowering it to the shoe polish. Michael, stop! The polish, just as in the store, gently ignited, and a small crater of molten wax slowly formed as I explained. When the wax melts, we buff it into the leather, and it really protects the boots and makes them shine way more. I was looking at my mom. Horror punctuated her whole affect as she screamed, Mike! I quickly snapped my attention to her focus and saw a lake of fiery wax quickly disintegrating the flimsy, festive plastic tablecloth, revealing the Formica tabletop underneath. Actually, it wasn't too fiery, but it was definitely spreading. I sprung to action, ran to the sink about 5 feet away, cupped my hands under the running water, and started throwing meaningless splashes onto the conflagration. My mom looked at me. Why in the hell would you do that? Dad appeared suddenly. He plunked the lid on the tin of wax, and my mom ripped the melting tablecloth off and stomped out the smoldering flame. It never did that at the store, Mom. I'm so sorry. Dad didn't even look at me. In his almost monotone voice of disgust, he stated, Dumbass, you didn't use new tins of shoe polish at the store. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Even though the boots were unscathed, they wouldn't be helping my stature anymore that day. My mom yelled a fair amount, but she and Dad were both really laid back. Dad rarely yelled. My mom looked at me and started laughing. I have no idea what my expression must have been. Dad touched the top of the tin can to make sure it wasn't too hot. With the same tone as before, he had a wry sense of humor. He said, You should have enough melted polish for your shoes. There was. They looked pretty damn good when I finished. Scant redemption for destroying my mom's special plastic Christmas tablecloth for entertaining. But fortunately, I think they came 3 to a pack, so Christmas Eve was back on. Not long afterwards, I left for the evening. My girlfriend liked my boots. So that's the story. And tomorrow, I will probably post the next video or the next story with a few comments. And it has to do with the festive plastic tablecloths and the ladies who were going to be coming over to celebrate Christmas Eve with us. But until then, this story, this memory of being young and foolish and realizing my own penchant towards superiority helps me to heal, helps me to understand myself, to know myself. And hey, that's what I came here for. That's what we all come here for, to know ourselves, but in relation to other people, to other things, and to enjoy all of this. And I remember what it means to me that even though, as I mentioned, my mom and dad struggled with alcohol addiction, it affected them, it affected us, but there's been healing in exploring the darkness that came from that. And it has been healing that has helped me to understand my mom and dad, to understand myself, to understand many facets of humanity right now. And it's a blessing. And the realization that I've come to, the explorations that have yielded discoveries that have come because I call on heart and choose heart to understand. So, thanks for listening. I hope you find some enjoyment in this, some instruction, and some healing for yourself, some ways to start thinking about healing for yourselves. Bye until later.